Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman, and we are coming to you from our studios at the Capital Region International Airport. We're going to stay in the mid-Michigan area right now. Amanda Dernovshek is joining us. She's an associate with Foster Swift, Collins and Smith, which has offices in Lansing and 6 other offices across the state. I'm going to be introducing you soon as with Foster Swift, an international organization, because you guys keep growing. It's unbelievable. Well, welcome for joining us today. Let's talk specifically about the CTA. Explain what that is and kind of who it impacts.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Chris. I know that the Corporate Transparency Act has been a really hot topic this year, and it's something that I've spent a lot of time thinking about and advising clients on. So let's just kind of jump right into the details here. The Corporate Transparency Act was passed a few years ago, but became effective at the beginning of 2024. And, typical laws that impact businesses, you may think they impact big businesses, but this is an act that affects every business. So if you are an LLC, a corporation, a partnership, this probably impacts you, and it requires you to tell the federal government who your beneficial owners are. Beneficial owners are someone who owns 25% of your company, whether that's equity, either membership interest or stock, but it also means someone who has substantial control over your business. So this act requires you to report those people into a federal database and provide some personal information about them. And there's some pretty strict deadlines and penalties, which we'll get into here in a moment.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So it's a 25% ownership they have to have and some influence over the business. So if that's not the circumstance, like you have an investor who owns 10% of the company, you do not have to file then.
Well, it's not as clear as that. So the substantial control piece, it's either 25% or substantial control. So
Okay.
someone who's a 10% investor, they may have substantial control over the business. And how we would determine that is to really look at each situation individually. If someone is making strategic decisions for a business or they have authority to direct, or elect board of directors or officers, then they have substantial control over the business. And so it's this facts and circumstances analysis. And frankly, the CTA and the way that it defines substantial control is very broad.
There you go. So can you further define beneficial owner, what that is?
Yep. So that just means someone who owns 25% or someone who has substantial control. Those two buckets of people are both considered beneficial owners under the CTA.
Okay. Give me filing deadlines too, because everybody has to pay attention to those.
Yeah, so if your company was formed before January 1 of 2024, then you have until the end of this year, December 31st, 2024, to make your initial report. That means you have about 5 weeks to get this report in. If your business was formed during this year, it's a brand new company that was formed during 2024, then you had 90 days to make your report. So if you were formed in March and you haven't made this report yet, then you're behind on your deadlines. Going forward and starting January 1st of 2025, if you form a new company, again, LLC, corporation, partnership, you're going to have 30 days to submit your initial beneficial owner report from the date that you were formed. So the key deadlines there are if you're a company that's existing, you have until the end of the year. And if you're a company that's being formed after January 1, 2025, you have 30 days to make that report.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So if neither of those circumstances apply, someone has a 10% owner, someone has, and they also have a 5% owner, neither of which have any reflection or control on the business. Do they need to file anyway and just say, hey, we have these owners, but they have neither circumstance?
So every entity that is a reporting company is required to submit a report. And FinCEN, which is the federal government organization that's running this, they take the position that every business will have a beneficial owner. So if you're making a report, there's somebody that's going to have control over your business. And again, that could be someone who, for example, your board of directors elects your officers. That is having substantial control over your company. So your board of directors would need to report. And if we think about an LLC example, if you're a manager managed company and your manager, they may not own interest in your LLC, but they may be making the day-to-day decisions and thinking about the strategic steps that your company is going to take on a prospective basis. Therefore, they have substantial control. So if you're a reporting company, there's going to be someone that falls into that bucket of beneficial owner, even if there's nobody that owns 25% equity.
Sure. Okay, how do we file?
So you can go to the FinCEN BOI website online. It's a very simple process. You just click into the online database and submit your information. It's very simple. It's actually probably one of the more simple things that the federal government has put together for us. So go to the FinCEN, FINCEN, beneficial owner reporting website, and it's pretty easy to use and user friendly.
Penalties? Yeah.
Yeah, penalties, there's both civil and criminal. So just be aware that if you don't file, you could face fines of up to $500 per day. And there is some criminal penalties as well, although we haven't seen any enforcement of that to date.
And if you're out there and you need help with this, we'll put you in touch with Amanda.
Yes.
Amanda Dernovshek. She is an associate with Foster Swift Collins Smith PC at Lansing and 6 other locations. Thanks for joining us and clarifying. Appreciate it, Amanda.
Thank you, Chris.
All right. You're watching the Michigan Business Beat on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman. We'll be back with more.